Hello and welcome to New Frontiers on CCTV International. I'm Ji Xiaojun in Beijing. And today we reach the final part of our major exploration of Chinese civilization. In the previous 19 episodes, we've traced the evolution of Chinese civilization since the dawn of time through an investigation of archaeological discoveries, historical sites, and cultural relics. In today's program, we reach the Qing Dynasty. In virtually every aspect of civilization, the Qing Dynasty scaled heights never before achieved in Chinese history. Its achievements covered not only the arts, but also science, farming, and ethnic policy. One major breakthrough occurred in the early 18th century when the Qing imperial court dispatched land survey teams to draw up an accurate map of Chinese territory.
It was an era in which different ethnic groups in China fused on a scale hitherto unknown, and one in which China's territory was larger than at any other time in her history. China was by this time the most populous country and the strongest economic entity in the East, and she had already produced many immortal cultural classics, among them the longest book in the world. It was also in this era that the nation's various ethnic groups reached a consensus on what constituted a national culture. This was the age of the Qing Dynasty, and during this era, Chinese civilization would reach new heights. Finally, the court survey team found the source of the Yellow River in the Bayanha Mountains. After the surveyors came back to the capital, they drew a chart indicating the many lakes at the source of the Yellow River. Only then did the supreme ruler of the land of China know that the source of the Yellow River was dotted with numerous shimmering lakes. This is the first map of the source of the Yellow River in Chinese history, and after its completion, the central government was encouraged to carry out further large-scale surveys of the empire's territory. This was the first time in the world a land survey covering such a broad territory using modern scientific instruments was conducted. It was an undertaking and achievement of pioneering significance in the history of science. The complete and accurate map of China that resulted became an important basis on which the ruler of a large country could know his domain so as to formulate better political, economic, diplomatic, and military strategies. For the first time, a ruler of China could examine his domain with the geographical conceptions of modern times. The map told him precisely where remote places such as Tibet, Xinjiang, and Taiwan Island were located. The map was a concrete depiction of a consolidated and immense country under a unified administration. As the map was displayed, it gave the Chinese who saw it self-confidence in the broad and unified country that was their nation.
就是我们这个国家分分合合，它的大的格局范围基本上没有变。它就在这么一个东亚的这么一块地方里边啊，变过来变过去，有的时候大了一点，有的缩小了一点，它基本格局没大变。所以由于这么一个特点呢，是我们这个边疆地区呢，历史上的边疆地区跟现实中间边疆地区啊，大部分是历史上是我们边疆地区，现实生活中间仍然是我们边疆地区。清前期的边疆政策是成功的。正因为边疆政策成功，所以清在到康乾盛世的时候，我们才能够使得我们中国的这个疆域这个领土疆域能够 有发展到最后的奠定。
During the era of the Qing Dynasty, different ethnic groups in China increased their mutual exchange on a scale never before seen, and their ethnic cultures merged to a much greater extent. In 1652, Awang Losang Jiatuo, the political and religious leader of Tibet, led more than 3,000 Tibetans to the national capital at the invitation of Emperor Xuanzhi, and to accommodate them, the Qing imperial court built Shi Huang Temple. The following year, the Qing imperial court officially conferred the title Dalai Lama on Awang Losang Jiatuo, and after that, the appointment of the Dalai Lama by the central government of China became the rule that has remained in place in China to the present day. During the reign of Emperor Kangxi, the Qing imperial court conferred the title of Panchen Ardor Ni on the 5th Panchen Lama, and this title has been inherited by all the Panchen Lamas to follow up to the present day. Using this approach, China was able to verify and consolidate its sovereignty over Tibet. The 6th Panchen Lama, with his entourage of more than 2,000 Tibetan lamas and local government officials, travelled for a year more than 5,000 kilometres to meet with the Qing emperor in his summer resort in Chengde. In order to communicate with the Panchen Lama directly, Emperor Qianlong learned to speak the Tibetan language from living Buddha Zhangjia. After the founding of the Qing Dynasty, mutual respect and fusion of different ethnic cultures developed in a friendly and comprehensive way, and the regional leaders of Tibet submitted to the central government with resolution and sincerity. In the spring of 1691, the famous Dorlun Meeting of Allegiance was held on the grasslands north of the Great Wall in a place called Dorlun Nur. At this meeting, the chieftains of various Mongolian leagues and banners gathered in Huizong Monastery to pledge their allegiance to Emperor Kangxi. After the summer resort in Chengde was built, the Qing emperor went on an inspection tour to regions north of the Great Wall almost every year. He met with chieftains of Mongolian and Tibetan tribes and entertained them in his temporary palace in Ruhe province with a grand banquet. Emperor Qianlong said these special trips were mostly about uniting all the people and consolidating the country.
The Qing Dynasty witnessed unprecedented levels of exchange and cooperation among different ethnic groups. As a result, the whole country enjoyed a period of prosperity and stability. In the second half of the 18th century, one ethnic group, the Turgut, even returned to their ancient home in Xinjiang.
People of the Mongol tribe of Turgut originally lived in the Xinjiang region, but in the middle of the 16th century, they followed their livestock to the Volga River Valley in Russia. In the second half of the 18th century, the Turgut people decided to return to the place where the sun rises, and so about 170,000 Turguts set off along the road to the east that would take them home. The 170,000 Turgut tribespeople trekked over sheer mountains and through swiftly flowing rivers, often fighting back enemies at the same time. It was a distance of more than 5,000 kilometers, and it took them more than half a year to reach their motherland. The Qing imperial court accorded their return considerable attention, ordering local governments along the road to prepare clothes and food for them. The warm concern shown by the motherland touched the hearts of the migrating Turgut people deeply, and Emperor Qianlong too was moved. The emperor wrote an inscription to commemorate the heroic deed of the Turgut people and ordered that it be carved on a stone tablet. That tablet still stands today in a Buddhist temple in Chengde City. The chieftain of the Turgut tribe, Wuobashi, presented Emperor Qianlong with a precious sword left to him by his great-grandfather Ayu to show his loyalty to the motherland. The Qing imperial court responded by conferring on Wuobashi the title Khan, along with an official seal. The people of the Turgut tribe were relocated to the rich pasture lands at the foot of the Tian Shan Mountains in Xinjiang, and there they became devoted developers and defenders of China's frontier region.
康熙皇帝来说，乾隆皇帝也这么说，就是历史上的皇帝，历史上要抵御来自于北部的这个侵扰，建长城。他说我不建长城，我是通过跟蒙古建的联盟，在我北部建立起一个比长城还要巩固的长城。
The Qing imperial court regarded emphasis on agriculture and improvements to crop cultivation as its main policy for social and economic development. China even introduced corn and sweet potatoes from abroad, although it was only during the Qing Dynasty that these crops were planted on a large scale. In the year 1703, the imperial court asked local farmers in Ruohe province on the Bashang Plateau to grow rice on a trial basis. The experiment succeeded, and the area in the vicinity of Chengde became the largest rice-growing area in North China. Even today, rice is still a profitable crop in the region. Growing rice on farmland that was originally used to grow dry land grain crops was an innovative idea unconceivable in previous eras of China's history. Eventually, the boundary between cultivating rice and cultivating dry land grain crops disappeared thanks to technical improvements in agriculture. Meanwhile, the Qing Dynasty's integration of their own nomadic culture of northeast China with the farming civilization of the Central Plain was highly successful, with great progress in production and in society.
清朝的发展是在传统的这种汉文化的基础上，又吸收了各个少数民族的它的文化那种精华，所以使得清朝呢显现出一种就是繁荣昌盛，特别是在这个康乾盛世的显示出这么一种状态。在这种情况下，老百姓能安居乐业，这个生活也比较稳定，所以呢，这个自然而然的就是在生产经济方面都会有创新就出来了。
Previous imperial courts had imposed a head tax on every male adult, but in 1712 the Qing imperial court abolished this ancient taxation policy. Instead, it collected the capitation tax on only one male member of a family. A family paid the same amount of tax no matter how many able-bodied men it had. This is the famous no tax increase on the growing population policy.